Hello guys and welcome to a tutorial on how to build your own calculator on Python. So in this tutorial I'll be explaining to you how you build your own calculator, as I said, and we'll be walking step by step on how to do this. So first things first, I'll show you the final results just so you have an idea of what we are going to build. So it's pretty much a basic calculator, and right now I'm going to introduce numbers with my keyboard. So basic stuff, it lets me introduce all the characters, all the charts that you see here. It lets me do this. Other charts like simple letters, the program doesn't let me introduce, so you don't calculate with any wrong characters. So yeah, it's pretty much it right now. It has the button clear. The main things are here. It's the pretty simple calculator, and I have some pretty good verifications right now that don't let me do stuff wrong. For example, if I do this, it'll send me an error and it won't let me introduce any number again. So we'll be doing this kind of stuff and a little bit more. So right now this is my code. Okay, so you can see it's not that long. It's only this size. With this size, it's not very long, and I have like 15 lines that are only for comments and some space between that I forgot to delete. So it's a pretty short program, so it won't take too long. So I'll just save this and I'll create another module. So let's go right here and I'll create another PyDev module. So I'll name it calculator tutorial for the sake of this tutorial. It's not here. Okay, I don't have any package right now, so okay, so we're ready to build some calculators. So first I'll create just a class and I'll name it calculator. Okay, then let's create the init. So just like this, pretty simple. Okay. And we will create a window, a variable name window, and we will just do like this. We will use Tkinter. I forgot to mention it. We will use Tkinter, which you'll have to import. I'm gonna make Control Shift O, and this window will prompt, and I'll just select this one. So yeah, you'll need to import this Tkinter for the tutorial. Then we will just define a title. Pretty simple. So pretty simple right now. Now what we're going to do right now, it's after I close it, I'll open it and show you. So now we want to build this. This is an entry, so we want to build this first. We will build like this first, this line, this row, then this. We will be building this by rows. My code is organized like that. So let's create a string, and let's string var. This variable will be called string, and we will have to import. So Control Shift O, and you'll have to import this string var too from Tkinter. Then I'll create my entry. So I named it entry, and window here. Then you'll have to define a text variable, which we are going to say it's this one we've just created, string. Then I'll just make the oh, never mind, I'll explain to you this later. We will always have to import this entry too, so Control Shift O again, and we will select the Tkinter. So yeah, pretty simple right now. So my calculator is organized with grid. So this is a grid basically. So I'll be setting that to so entry dot grid, and I'll define the row as 0 because this is the row 0. You always start at 0, not at 1, remember. Column equals to 0, and then as you see here in the calculator, this entry occupies 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns, so we will have to define the column span like this 6, okay, because this is a grid and it's all fixed and stuff, so you'll have to do this basically. So basically right now I'm not going to add anything, just maybe an entry dot focus. So what this does is when you open your program, your entry will be focused. I'll just show you. If I remove this code right here, or if I comment it, if I run, you see there's nothing here. If I type, it's okay, but I cannot use the keyboard right away. So this is why this line is just to focus. So right now, if I started it, you notice that I can type with the keyboard without having to click with my mouse. So pretty simple, not that hard to understand. So basically we're now going to create an array with the values that we're going to use to the button. So we're basically going to set this array equals to 7, 8, 9 / all this kind of stuff, just so it makes things simpler, and we won't be defining a button by button. So just keep things simple. I don't wanna make the program too long in the tutorial, so I'm gonna copy this from my code right here, so I don't have to. This is pretty simple stuff. You can do this with whatever you want, but for the sake of this tutorial I'm using this these values right here. So pretty simple, you just copy this, and now I'm going to create a for cycle for the creation of our buttons that will have these values right here. So it's basically gonna be, I'm gonna define a variable text, it's basically text in values. So what this does is, for each value, it does one time, it's going to make this variable txt equals to this value, and in the others it does a cycle, and again it will equals txt to 8, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty simple. So now we're going to define, I'm going to start with the button. So if values, so basically you want to call values, and I'm going to, and I'll need to create a variable, which is e. I'm going to just equal it to zero because I need a variable here to do this, or I can just use the txt. Never mind. If txt equals because it's an if, to equal, what I want to do is I'm gonna create a variable which is btn button window, which is the root of our program. I'm going to define an 8, which I'm going to put 2. You can this is editable things with, oh, I'm sorry, equals to 4, and I'm going to define a pedx 23. I'll be explaining you this right away, just give me a second. Text equals to txt, so this variable for the first cycle, imagine the first cycle, this variable will be defined as 7, for example. So for example, so we need to find a button, and you say text is equal to txt, it's going to define it's going to take the text from this value, so this is where it comes from. This is the same as doing values and for example. So it's a little bit more simple. And I'm going to say that this is, I'm not gonna say it yet. I'm not gonna make things hard for you to understand at first. I'm just gonna build the simple things. So this button btn.grid, what this is going to do is I'm gonna equal this row equals to row. I'm gonna find a variable right here. Just give me a second. Column equals to call, because I'm going to find it right now. So what I want to do, I want to explain this to you because some of you might not understand what I am about to do. So imagine that this is one row, this is another row. So in the for cycle, you'll need to know which row you're in. Okay, so basically when you get to I'll define this C that I have here. What it will make is the index of the cycle. So if it's on the cycle 0, we will be here on the row 1, because row 0 is already used. So we'll be in the cycle 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We want the row to be 0, 1. I'm sorry. When the index is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or 11, we want the row to be 2, and so on and so forth. So so our buttons won't be lost in space right there, so everything will be just fine. So for that, I'm going to define here the row will be starting by 1, because the 0 is already occupied with the entry, and I'm going to define call as 0 because we want this column to start right here, and the e equals to 0. So right now I'm going to, this row will be 0 in the first cycle, but I will be explaining to you this in a minute. So I'm just let me finish my line of code. So this column span 2, what I want to do, I'm building this button first, because you know I want to, I'll show you. Right here what I do in my code is I'll verify if the button that is about to be defined is the equal button. If it's not, if it's the clear, if it's not the clear or the equal, if it's the backspace, and if it's not none of these three, it's a normal button. It won't have any special things to do. Basically, what these buttons have special is the command that I'll be walking you through this in the next tutorial. This command here, it's different from this one, and from this one. So this is why I separate the buttons here, and also the equal as a column span 2 and a row span, because we want the equal button to be bigger than the other ones. So that's why I'm doing this verification here. Row span equals to 2, and pad x, I'm just gonna say this is 1. Again, you can edit this, all this stuff. I just think it's prettier this way. Elif, this is pretty simple. Oh, okay, I forgot this, I'm sorry. If the txt equals to clear, okay, so if it's not equal, the program is going to verify if it's equal to clear. Oh, I'm sorry, this is with the C, major C. So I'm going to copy this and I'll make the changes. Oh, we will have to import the button Control Shift O, and we'll be using Tkinter just like we did before. So right here in the clear, I want to take this off, okay, because I don't want any column span or row span, and the pad X and the pad Y is pretty good right now. what I want to do, this one I'll be, and this as 10, but as this button is equal to the rest of all the buttons, it's the same width and the same pad x and the same pad y, I'll be defining a variable right here equal to 10 and pad y is equal to 10. So I won't be, imagine that you want to change this value, and if you didn't do this way, you'll be having to define on each line which pad x and which pad y you will want. So this way is easier to make the code easier to read. So yeah, right now I want this to happen. Then we'll create another elif, just like I told you, txt equals to this. So basically we were comparing with these values array. So if it's equal, what it's going to do is I'm going to copy this thing right here, I'm sorry. So and it's going to be the same, and if it's not equal to anything, just going to make a generic button, which is okay, pretty good. So this is pretty much our for. We'll just increment, make sure we are incrementing e, okay, so that e gets a value each time, and I need this e for doing something that I explained to you earlier in this tutorial, which is like the rows, row 1, row 2, row 3. I need to do it here. So if we'll create an if right here, if e equals to 6, okay, so if our button is the number 4, we want to set the row to be equal to 2, okay, and the call to be equal to 0, because when you get to the 4 button, your row is still 1 and your column is 7, okay, so you want to set the column to 0. And I forgot this, I'm sorry, but you'll have to set the call to be call plus 1, so that you get column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, etc. Columns it starts at 0 2. So if it's not equal to that, I'm going to make another verification. E equals to 12. So the same thing, I'm going to copy this to change the row. So here in this case we'll have row 3. If e equals to 17, call it will be equals to 0, and row equals to 4. So you notice right here that what's happening is too many spaces. Okay. Okay. And I forgot this thing. Okay. So you notice that 6 plus 6 is 12, but 12 plus 6 isn't 17. So why is that? Because our equal button is taking 2 spaces on the grid, okay? So when it gets to 17, so we run 12 right here, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 is this, and when it gets 17, we want the row to be the 4th one, okay? So pretty simple, nothing much complicated. So right now what we want to do is we're going to define a window dot main loop, okay, and right now, and right at the end, let me see, yeah, yes, I think so. Window, this should be here, shouldn't be here. Def, okay, def is exactly calculator, exactly like this. So this is supposed to run exactly, so pretty nice right now. So we have this thing here, So just wait a moment. I'll be explaining to you all the stuff, and we'll be making this a little bit pretty. So it doesn't, it does nothing right now, but we have our interface built, which is important. So pretty much on this tutorial, this is how it's going to be. I'll just explain to you how to build this interface. So on the next tutorial we will be talking about the action buttons, okay, and we will be building the calculator itself. So this part was a little bit simple. Oh, wasn't too complicated. So yes, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.